6 rules. I have to apologize for the last video. I did not know how to fix the audio thing, and I added a slide if you paid attention, which you probably should have. It was the first 3 seconds. I added a slide because the audio at the beginning, how it's just silence, that is automatically added by the software. So it overlapped the audio that I recorded on the last video. And I also have to apologize for wanting to rush through this. I did not know that it was a novel. I figured it was a game. But, I mean, we already started it, so let's just get back into it. Alright. The snow did not stop falling. The next day, he woke up early in the morning and ran off to the market to get his mother a birthday present. After passing rows and rows of shops, he finally settled on one that was selling hair accessories. Shopkeeper. A deep, sophisticated blue is quite the color in demand, young master. The shopkeeper crackled gaily, showing off an array of brilliantly blue ribbons. For you, young sir, I will sell 2 for the price of 1. In the end, he left the shop, satisfied with his purchase. When he approached the clearing, he was shocked to see Yuki lying flat on the ground, trying to reach for something in a large pit. He sped over meanly and grabbed her by the collar, causing both of them to fall flat in the snow. What do you think you're doing? She crawled off slowly to brush off the snow off her kimono, looking slightly disappointed. He noticed the silver hairpins that she had worn the previous day were no longer there. Her black hair was flying all over the place from the wind. My pin dropped into the pit. Still, you can't get it back like that. He realized that he was worried for her and that he was raising his voice in an effort not to burst out crying tears of relief. Leave it there. It's not worth risking your life for. Sorry. Walking away from the pit, she sat on the log again and tried to stop her hair from falling into her face. Without thinking, he reached into his pocket and pulled out the blue ribbon. He walked over to her without saying a word, secured the loose strands of hair behind her ear. She tensed up in surprise but did not push him away. There, better? He stood back to admire his handiwork. Blue really does look good on you, huh? A pale tint of color appeared on her cheeks and she nodded. Don't accept things from trespassers. Don't give things to trespassers either. That was another rule broken. Yet he no longer minded as long as he could see her this happy. Watching her gently touch the ribbon near her ear, he grinned and leaned against a tree, waiting for her to say something about it. Thank you. You did not have to give it to me. What can I do to repay you? Reiju did not expect any payment, and so her response took him by surprise. However, there was a nagging question in his head that needed to be answered, and so he decided it was about time to muster the courage to ask her. You can start by answering a question of mine. I was wondering for a while, your clothes don't seem like that of a common pauper's. She froze, and he was still trying to regret his statement already. Still, he pressed on. What family are you from? I might have heard of the name. He paused awkwardly. But you don't have to tell me if you don't want to. She did not look uneasy, as if she had expected such a question from the very beginning, and she had no problem answering. It's okay, you don't have to tell me if you don't want to. Tara no Yuriki. Huh? My name. He stood there for a few seconds. Something was wrong, but he did not know what. Only just then did the girl's words suddenly register and like a puzzle piece when clicked into place. Wait, Tara? Never, I repeat, never talk to those of the Tiara family. Ryuji? He only just realized that his mouth was gaping open. Yuki no Tiara. Tiara knew Yuriki was watching him with a concerned look in her eyes. However, this time the air felt dead. He could not even hear the sounds of the birds chirping. Ryuji barely knew who Lord Tamiyoshi was, but how many times did he pass his father's chamber when he was sitting up at night, oil lamp lit, and shivering at his desk, struggling not to cry? How many times has he watched that and wished that things would have ended up differently for his father and the entire family? If they had no need to hide from the society after the rebellion. If his family hadn't had to live in fear of being discovered. Ryu, don't trust her. She's one of the Tiaras. The Tiara clan humiliated us. We do not forgive. We do not forget. They are conniving and manipulative and... Is there something wrong? Are you ill? She appeared genuinely worried. She leaned over slightly and tried to touch his forehead, but he jumped back immediately. What did your father tell you? It was repeated twice in the rules list. This is no small matter. You can break all the rules except for this one. This is serious. It's the one rule you must never break. They are our enemies. Don't trust them. They'll kill you and they will step on your face, laughing. Oh, for goodness sakes. She's a 10-year-old girl. Still. It was against his morals to stereotype. In the end, he hung his head shamefully, balling his fist. Yuki was Yuki. It did not matter what family she was from. She was curious, she was innocent, and she was a good friend. He would not let such silly rules bind him from doing what he wanted anymore. After all, he was already guilty of breaking more than half of them. With that, he tried to settle down his thoughts. I'm sorry. She looked confused, but continued to think out loud. Yeah, the rest of the Tiaras may be like that, but you're different, Yuki. With those words, he broke into a wide smile. Huh? Her face, still flooded with confusion, slowly turned icy again, and she looked down. It seemed that the reason for the boy's dilemma had finally made sense to her. You don't like my family very much, do you? However, his decision was made, and his answer was firm. It doesn't matter where you're from, Yuki. You are my friend, and I like you. See? He grinned again and patted her head. This time she did not tense, and she relaxed and turned towards him. So, how do you write your name anyways? Yukiri, huh? Yuki looked at him with wide eyes, curious. Why don't you guess? You can't guess it, I bet. Hey, that's not fair. Yukiri, huh? Your Yuki is definitely the word for snow, I bet. The problem is the RI. Is your name made out of the words for snow and lily? No. Or snow and pear? Reiju clumsily laid a piece of scrap parchment from his scroll on the swing. What are you doing? I brought my brushes today. I'll see if I can guess your name right. Reiju dipped his brush in ink and started writing. Yuki watched him incredulously. Eventually, he wrote a list of names and held the paper up for Yuki to see. Yuki stared at all the guesses, her expressions unreadable. So did I get it right? Well, I'm bound to have gotten one right. Here, take them. Whichever is the right one, just keep that one. He laid the scroll slowly onto Yuki's outstretched palms. She picked it up delicately, afraid of ripping it. Okay. Reiju puffed out his chest proudly. Anyway, my calligraphy isn't that bad, is it? It's okay. Hey, you were supposed to say it's great. Hey, Ryu. What is it, Yuki? What would you do if the world ended tomorrow? Huh? Why do you ask that? Never mind. Ryuji turned back to look at her questioningly. She looked at the ground aimlessly, as if being drawn into the patterns of the snow. Yuki? Her head shut up. It's nothing. Good day to you, Minamoto no Ryuji. She looked at him. This time she was smiling, really happily. It was an angelic smile, a smile that he would never forget. No, seriously, don't trust the Tiara clan. This is a lie, right? This is a dream, right? I'll wake up. I'll wake up. I'll wake up and everything will be fine. It had only been a few weeks, and yet everything had turned upside down. Why had his family needed to hide? Ryuji hated himself for having forgotten such a simple fact. Flames were licking the grand house all the way to the skies, and yet he could do nothing but watch, horrified, frozen, as death cries echoed from the place he used to call home. He could not move. If he moved, he would be caught and killed too, just like the rest of his family. By the ruthless, heartless Tierra clan. He realized that much too late. Footsteps approached his hiding space. Footsteps of a young child. He looked up and he saw her. There, 3 meters away from where he hid, she watched him with a gaze of mock wistfulness. He felt a horrible chill emanate from those dark eyes. The chill froze his entire body. Right now, the only thing clawing at his mind was that he was going to die. She's a liar, she's a liar, she's a liar, she's a murderer, she's the demon. She smiled, an angelic smile, which in such a generation would be the smile of a demon. It made his blood run cold as the fact finally registered in his mind. From the moment she stepped into the forest, she had planned for my doom. Yet he had fallen so cleanly into that trap. Why? His voice was almost an inaudible croak. Perhaps at the moment he still had a small shimmer of hope that the Yuki that was his friend did indeed exist, somewhere hidden within that demon that stood before him. Yet her cold face told him otherwise. As he searched for the eyes of the girls who he once called a friend, he found nothing but emptiness. A Tierra man, presumably her father, approached her from behind and put his hands on her shoulders. He leered at the cowering boy while the girl's gaze continued to linger at him, emotionless and cold, just like the snow. Murderer. You murderer, you traitor, I'll never forgive you. He had no friend named Yuki. Everything was a cruel, cruel lie. In the midst of his despair, Ryuji did not know how much time had passed. Footsteps responded through the hallways, and he turned to see the very person he dreaded to see. The Tierras are our sworn enemy. Good day, young Master Minamoto. Every syllable of his name was stressed mockingly by the Tierra heiress as if she were singing a lullaby. I just thought I'd pay you a visit before they'd come for your head. What could have possessed you to commit such a sinful act? Killing your own family. Oh, you poor dear, I really thought you were a kind boy. May the gods have mercy on your soul. You shut up. Oh my, is that the devil speaking? Such foul words. There was no use arguing. He wasn't going to beg that girl for mercy. Who had the upper hand right now? He knew that full well. She clasped her hands and smiled. There was no ribbon in her hair, but there was a new set of hairpins adorning it. Her shimmering black hair and white skin made her look like an angel in the midst of this dark, damp hellhole. However, he knew that she was a demon. He realized that much too late. They are manipulative and conniving. Rule number 1. You must not let strangers into the house, preferably not even in the forest in which we reside. She chanted as if reciting a nursery rhyme. Rule number 2. If you spot any strangers near the property, alert your parents immediately. Poor, poor Mr. Minamoto. If you just told your parents, why, I bet you'd be the one in your place right now. Too bad that didn't happen, did it? You must not listen to them. Hatred filled his entire body, so thick, so malicious that he could feel it dripping from his eyes. He tried to keep his voice steady, knowing getting agitated would amuse her even more. You didn't usually speak like this. Don't trust them. Tierra crossed her arms and smiled, except this time it was not her usual angelic smile. It was an empty, cruel smirk that was utterly alien on the charming face of a little girl. Of course I can speak normally, Mr. Minamoto. What did you expect? She closed her eyes and twirled. For me to speak in broken sentences like this? They will do anything to reach their goals. Rule number 3. Never tell strangers where the house is located. You're great, Mr. Minamoto, spilling your family's secrets so easily. It was so pathetic. Ryuji gritted his teeth and spoke lowly. I'll never forgive you. She looked amused, a smile playing on her lips. Oh dear, what am I going to do if you don't forgive me? As Tierra continued to chant like a small child she was, he could not stop his shaking. She couldn't be the same girl he had known. She must been a different person, he thought that desperately. No way he could have possibly have let himself be tricked so masterfully by a girl. His pride would not allow it. They will take everything away from you. Where is the ribbon I gave you? He whispered, unable to suppress his quivering voice. Deep in his heart, he still wished that the girl in front of him had somehow possessed or integrated anything, please. If that were the case, she won't remember any women, he told himself desperately. Tiara no Yuki stopped chanting and turned towards him, an amused expression on her fine features. The tiara has killed Minamoto no Tuishi, Tamiyoshi in cold blood. I dropped it. She shook her head in an expression of mock ruefulness before she smirked again. What were the chances of me keeping a ribbon that has been spoiled by the tainted hands of Minamoto anyways? Of course, I don't mean to insult you, so please don't be too harsh on me, Mr. Minamoto, okay? Another pure smile lit her face as she clasped her hands innocently like a young child begging for a cookie, and he felt his insides churn. Rule number 4, don't accept anything from trespassers. Don't give things to trespassers either. So I'm returning this to you. Between her fingers dangled a crumpled piece of parchment, matted with ash and half burnt. I'd have liked to keep it. It was nice calligraphy. But you wrote my name wrong, you see? It's Yukiri, not Yukiri. I'm sorry to ruin your dreams, Minamoto, but my name is more of mist and fog variety than the pretty snow pears or lilies that you dreamt of. Also, my calligraphy is prettier than yours, but I am sure you can see that by now. They killed Lord Tamiyoshi, and now they'll kill you too. They'll kill you. But his anger took over his fear, ignited not by how betrayed he felt. That betrayal fueled his hatred to no end. He truly thought she was his friend. He thought he cared for her. So why did this happen? Because you broke the rules. You should have listened. Why didn't you listen? Rule number 5. She paused. Never talk to those of the Tiara family. See? You should have just ignored me after I told you my name. Instead, you went on and on, talking and talking about your family and all. I was so tired listening to you. If I hadn't been taxed to listen to your rambling, I would have just gone to sleep. She shook her head, smiling sadly. Ryuji was shaking. If he could just break out of here. Her smile faded. Her face was blank, unreadable. Was it frustration, disappointment, nothing? See, you should have just ignored me after I told you my name. Why didn't you, Ryuji? Her face looked as if she was blaming him for everything. Huh? Why would she be blaming him? Tiara had won, hadn't she? However, she looked disappointed, dejected even. She looked down, absent-mindedly kicking at the gravel on the ground, clenching her fist. Yuki? Then she lifted her head again, smiling as if the past 10 seconds never happened. With an elegant bow, she finished. Rule number 6, don't trust the Tiara clan, Minamoto-kun. You're welcome. Ooh. Okay guys, I'll end it here and then we'll do the extra section in the next video. Okay? So I'll see you guys later. Thank you for watching.